Welcome to Immigrate. Welcome to a space where you can be vulnerable, a space where you're not going to be judged, a space where you can be authentic. And my hope and desire is to inspire and motivate everyone that click onto this podcast. So, welcome to another episode of Immigrate. So, welcome to another great episode of Immigrate. I have this lovely guest here. She's so beautiful, Amida, and she will be sharing her story today with us. I'm so excited. It's been coming, and we've been trying to do this interview. So, welcome, Amida.
Oh, thank you, Tasha. I'm so excited to be here on your podcast. And I normally get interviewed for my knowledge of Ayurveda, but this is a new one for me. So I'm super excited to be here and kind of share my story with you.
Wonderful. So, tell me who this lovely lady is.
So, my name is Amira, and in this lifetime, I decided to reincarnate in Peru. And as terrorism increased here in kind of like the late 80s, early 90s, the future of Peru looked a little bit uncertain. So, in August of 1991, my parents and I migrated to Sydney, Australia. And I don't think there could have been a bigger contrast than that. No, if we're thinking about the Andes of Peru, mountainous, and then off I went to the beachside town of the Northern Beaches in Sydney. So quite a big contrast there.
Oh, wonderful. I love your accent, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Um, it's so interested. So then what, okay, I know you said you moved with your family, but then do you know any details of why else other than you moved to Australia?
I mean, there was quite a lot of terrorism, so a lot of violence. So the family that I grew up in were quite well off, so we were kind of a target for all we knew. So it was mostly to run away from this political unrest that Peru was in. No, and at that time, my uncle was living in Australia, so my dad said, "Okay, well, maybe Australia is where we should be heading to," and my uncle spoke very highly of Australia, no? But obviously warned us that it would be very different. There would be definitely like culture shocks, and people spoke a different language, and there was just so much, just such a different way of living there.
So share your experience as what age did you move there? Did you remember?
Yeah, so I moved when I was 8 years old. So I didn't
Oh,
remember that my parents pretty much like they didn't tell me what was going on. I kind of just
yeah.
felt like my aunties were crying at the airport and I didn't know what was happening. No? So nothing, no information was given to me. And then we kind of arrived at Sydney Airport, and then this man who I had never met before because he lived most of his life in Australia picked us up and kind of took us around, and all I remember was like just being so different, you know. And yeah, I have a lot of admiration for my parents now because it took a lot of guts. It wasn't an easy decision to kind of pack up their comfortable life because in Peruvian standards, they were quite well off. You know, I had a nanny, so there was a lot of help around, and to go to a country that was so different. You know, the food was not the same, the culture wasn't the same. There wasn't a sense of community, and my parents and I didn't speak the language, so it was definitely very challenging for us.
So how was that as a little girl and you grew up? How was that transition for you? Like, share, I want to hear from your perspective. How did you think the experience impact you?
Yeah, I think for me, like one of the biggest things was I remember like as a kid, you know, kids are tough, you know, and they bully you even if you do look exactly like them. So
I
if you
know.
can imagine being the only brown kid at a all white Australian school, it was definitely challenging. And I think I saw like an Italian or a Vietnamese kid around, but definitely like I was like if you look at my school photos, it was like I was just like that brown dot in the middle of them all, no? And I was that smelly kid at school, no, that bought smelly lunches and the kids didn't understand. So I remember like coming home one day and just kind of crying to my mum and telling her like, I just want to eat peanut butter sandwiches and I don't want you to like pack all this like, a delicious stew that took you so many hours to make because the kids bully me. And I think that was my first realization that I was different, because in Peru, people kind of all look like me, talked like me. So it was definitely challenging.
So what do you think was the most complex of all the experience you went? What was the most complex of this journey?
I think not being able to communicate with them at the beginning, because I could see them all playing at lunchtime and I was kind of isolated to a side. They were communicating, they were singing songs, joking around, just being kids in general, no? And I think it was just not being able to be part of a community, which was, being part of kids at school, what they were up to and what they were doing.
So you went to college there and everything. How did your parents think that it impact them? Did you think it impact your parents in any way?
So yeah, I went to like primary school. I started off, then high school, and then obviously university. So how did it impact my parents, my schooling?
Yeah, yeah. How did you think your experience impact your parents? Did you think they felt like they did something wrong because you were bullied at school, feeling different? Because you're
No,
still
like
living in Australia, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think for them, it was just like toughen up. This happens. And we've
Oh,
just moved from a totally different country to be here and risk so much. And, I think you can handle with the kids being mean to you. There wasn't that kind of support, no? I think the most that my mum probably did was just made me like lunches as the Australian kids and not so much Peruvian food. But I think the immigration mentality is you just get on with it. So
mm-hmm.
they were working multiple jobs. Quite a lot of the time I spent on my own, because they had to make ends meet, because living in Australia was not cheap. It isn't cheap now. It definitely wasn't cheap back then. So, and as an immigrant, they were working as a nanny, in kitchen hand, at restaurants, and sometimes juggling multiple jobs. No.
Wow, it's like a reverse psychology. You were in Peru where you had a nanny and you were living this life, and then your parents went there and doing the opposite. Um, I cannot even fathom. I could remember when I moved to Canada too. It was like, what? And then you kind of try comparing yourself. I'm sure when you became an adult, you're like, ah. And as you said, you moved back to Peru. So why did you move back to Peru?
So, from the age of 18 or so, I kept coming back to Peru every 2 years just to visit family, do a bit of traveling. But in 2019, I decided I had this strong urge. So, my spiritual journey began in India in 2018, where I was able to heal a lot of my digestive issues due to discovering Ayurveda in India. So then I felt this kind of ancestral pull to go back to Peru and learn more about my culture and reconnect, because I had been so distant from it. Even though I came back every 2, 3 years, there was still this sense of like, oh, I've got to go now and pursue my life in Sydney. But this time around, I decided I'm going to be here for a little while. Never in my wildest dreams did I think it would be 4 years, but here we are. No, because of obvious reasons, I got stuck here in Peru because Australia wouldn't let me back in. And yeah, it has been an amazing journey, full of self discovery, healing, and learning more about my parents and learning about my culture.
Interested. You just put on, why would Australia not let you back in? That's interesting. Because you
Because it was the
literally lived there for a
pandemic.
while. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
It
didn't
was
realize I
okay.
could mention that. So that's why I said for obvious reasons. So, yeah, the pandemic, nearly a year and a half or two, I wasn't allowed to go back in.
Oh, okay. It was rough that year. A lot of us as immigrant went through so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being so vulnerable. Looking back on your journey, what would you tell your young self?
Really like to not really care so much what other people think. No, I think you get to an age when you're an adult and you really don't care. So, but when you're, a child or a teen or an adult, it kind of really affects you what other people think of you. No, and I remember not as a child not being accepted to like go to parties or whatever. No, mainly because my parents were very strict on me as well. So I remember living between two worlds. No, this very strict kind of Peruvian. The girl stays at home, and then my friends kind of wanting to go to parties. So I danced between the two worlds. So it was a super interesting time for me. me kind of wanting to still be part of, to hold on to my Peruvian culture, but still wanting to be part of this Australian surfy kind of culture as well. So for me, it was interesting dancing between both. But if I could go back to my younger self, I was just like, who cares what people think of you?
Yeah,
Easier said than done. No?
it is. I could, when you mentioned that, I could remember too. My mom was really strict. My mom was very conservative to the point
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
I only wear dresses as a kid. So I used to get bullied for that. But my mom was like an extreme conservative person. And I, to be honest, being an adult now, I appreciate that because it made me into the person that I am today, right? What encouragement would you leave with an immigrant that's listening to your story, and you know what, they have a kid living in another country or moving to our country, and I'm like, what would you tell them?
I think just to try and understand them, no. And I know that parents are going through their own thing, multiple jobs, different language, clash of cultures and stuff, but really support your child through it because I don't believe that I got that much support from my parents, no, just because of work and their commitments. But yeah, just try and be there and support your kids through this process because it's not just your process that you're going through, no, and your kids are going through a totally different way of living, totally different way of being, really.
Do you think your parents support you now living in Peru?
Oh, this is such a hot topic for me right now because for the past maybe year and a half, my parents have really like urged me to go back to Australia because in their mind, they're thinking I'm doing things backwards, no? But whereas I'm looking at it from a totally different point of view, no? Because they value security, they value totally different things than me. Whereas I'm here to kind of heal a lot of the things that, through my ancestors, through plant medicine and a lot of other healing modalities, no? And I feel quite comfortable here in Peru, no? So, do they agree with what I'm doing right now? Maybe not. But I've come to the realization that kind of this is my life and I'm going to live it in my terms.
And you're the only child, right?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, parents can be very more like, "Oh, my little baby, where are you going?"
Yeah. And I think
Um,
in their mind as well, no, like we took you out of Peru to have a better life because to them, Australia is the bee's knees, no?
mhm.
Whereas I look at it from a totally different point of view. Like my soul feels really calm here. Like I can't imagine going back to a big city. Like I think, and the Australian way of life is probably not what I'm wanting right now. No, so I'm really loving this laid back attitude here in Peru, where I'm living, especially in the Sacred Valley. It's very chilled vibes. There's a great spiritual community. I'm able to work online, which is such a game changer, no? Because in their mind, like I should be back in the corporate world.
Yeah, yeah. Parents always see things the way they never understand. I
Yeah.
was explaining to my grandmother yesterday of what I do on my podcast, and my grandma's like, "What is that?" And she was going off. She's like, "Is that a real job?" And I'm like, "Yes, it is a real job." And she was like, I'm like, "Well, it's just a part time." Well, and then, because traditionally in their head, they see you to be doing this corporate work, which I have no problem. I'm going back into it. But as in the meantime, let me do something. But for them, they're like, you should be doing this, 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 this. And they just don't understand. And I was like, why am I explaining this to my grandmother anyway? She don't get it. Because she literally
Mm.
does, she don't. And I'm like, ugh. And I get frustrated and I'm like, okay, I'm not frustrated at you. I'm just frustrated that you don't understand this world. Well, and then they're like, I don't understand, so it doesn't make sense to me. And I'm like, okay. And I can see the frustration sometimes, right? It's because you want to do yeah, like you want to live your own life, but you also want to make your family happy. You want to make them be approval to what you're doing. So it's always like very frustrating. And I just want to thank you for this, and
Yeah, yeah.
um for what you're doing, and continue doing and shining your light and continue to be authentic for who you are. I've learned over the years that not everybody will be happy with what we do and the choices we make. But once we're doing it in accordance to our own way, and and our soul is happy, that's the most important thing, right?
Totally.
Our parents will never understand every details of our life. Just like us as kids,
Yeah.
we didn't understand why they had to do what they had to do until we
Yeah.
were old enough. We kind of figure it out, and I'm like, oh, that's why that happened.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm
so
comfortable being the oh.
that's what happened when you live in the city. That will be edited.
Well, I'm quite happy being the colorful sheep of the family and not following, the norm. So I hit my lowest health point when I was in the corporate world and I wasn't able to get answers. And I'm quite happy that I ended up, in India, was able to heal my digestive issues. And now I can share that with other women as well. No? And even though my parents don't agree with it and they wish that I would go back into the marketing world, making a corporate salary, it's just not me anymore. No. So, and
Live your truth.
once I cut those energetic cords with them, I felt so much freer and I kept meeting the right people. I kept going to the right things and my life felt like it was flowing so much better than when I was in the corporate world, no? And when I was in the corporate world as well, I was like, I don't really care about these campaigns. I don't really it doesn't light me up, no? But now, like, when women contact me about, their health issues, then I'm like, wow, yeah, I really want to serve and I want to be here for
Because
you and I want to guide you through this.
you are walking in the purpose that God has given you. And
Exactly.
sometimes not everybody will understand that. And
Yep.
for me, I'm learning to appreciate that. When I'm do you when you have do you have kids?
No.
Okay, so when you have kids, you will teach them, or if you do, you know what I mean, is like walking in that purpose that God has given us. Because we all, as I said earlier, we want to feel peaceful. We want to
Mhm.
have that oneness with our own soul that nothing can really tear us apart. And when we're not doing that, we're miserable, we're depressed, we're lonely, we're constantly asking, is this enough? Am I doing what I'm God? Because you're not walking in that. I remember my mentor keep telling me that. I'm like, how are you feeling when you're not doing things that you're called for? All above I just said. But sometimes our family, it hurts, but sometimes our family member will not understand. And you touch a
Yeah.
good point. I feel like the black sheep in my family too, because I don't do nothing that they have set out. One of my big mantra these days and speaking arrangement that I've been doing, it's breaking generational curses, patterns.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I've been doing, quite a lot of ayahuasca ceremonies here. And this is one thing that keeps coming up now. Somebody in the family, in the lineage, has to come here and be the cleanup crew and kind of heal all that stuff, no? Because maybe your mother didn't do it, your grandmother didn't do it. They were going through their own stuff as well, no? So maybe it's our turn to be like, all right, move over, ladies. That stuff stops with me.
And then you look like the enemy in the family because you feel like you're the one peeling up all the dirt, right? And you dig
Yeah,
all the things under the carpet. You're the
yeah.
one cleaning it up. And I'm like, why are you bringing all these dirt out? You're analyzed, and people are like, don't bring it up. But it needs to bring up. And you need to break. My thing this year and going is like breaking those generational patterns that keeping us from
Yeah.
becoming who we are and not making us will hold us back. It will hold us
Yeah.
back. I'll get into this point so much to the point that we even go off for the interview, but it is one of my passion point, and I'm doing a presentation next week on that because I'm like, it is something that we need to realize that if we don't
Mhm.
break those generational patterns, it's the little small things. I will go into so much, but it's the small little things that keep us and making us continue doing the things that God not allowing us to do. Those are the small things. We can't see it with our
Mhm.
naked eyes. We have to
Mhm.
ask God to show us. And when He revealed that to me, I was like, it's true. It's not coming up every day in front of you. If the
Mhm.
things that you do so naturally, and like, why do I do that? but you have to be in oneness with yourself. And kudos to
Mhm.
you, man, walking in your purpose. Do the things that what your God-given purpose is. Not everybody will, and that's alone tell me that you're doing what you're called to, you're supposed to. I know we touch a lot about spiritual journey, but what how else do you think it has impacted your journey? I know you said it's improved your health. What else, how else do you think it has?
Oh, wow, so much. No, apart, and I think realizing that I'm here to help women. No, so my health journey came to me as a gift. I don't look back at it and be like, oh, poor me had to go through all those health issues. I now have come out the other side and look at it as a gift because now I'm able to share my experience with other women going through this. And I definitely wasn't able to say that in the corporate world, like, oh, I'm so grateful that I'm doing this like Coca-Cola, pitch or nothing. No, now I'm like, wow, I just helped a woman like get off antidepressants. Like, how amazing is that, no? And I've learned that your parents don't always have to agree with what you're saying or you're doing, no? This is your path. And yeah, I used to be, because I used to be in that immigrant bubble where like I was always appeasing my parents and being like successful in their eyes. But that landed me with a lot of health issues. So now I'm like at the other side, like probably the healthiest I have ever been. And I'm able to serve people. No, I'm able to help women. Yeah, that's what I'm here for, I believe.
Anything else you want to add as we wrap up this presentation?
Um, wow, so much. I think maybe, if there's any women out there going through health crisis, like listen to your body. Sometimes we ignore it and we just keep pushing through because women have to work, kids, juggle this business, doing this, that we forget that if you don't have health, you don't have anything. So look after your health for sure, 100%.
3 words. What would 3 words that my listener would love to hear from you?
Can I do four?
Yeah, you can do. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
This too shall pass. This has been my mantra, for the past
Mm.
year. I think we get stuck. And even in the good moments, these good moments are going to pass. So really relish in them, enjoy them as much. And if you're going through a difficult period, we've just had the retrograde or whatever I hear people, saying that it's been a difficult time. This will pass. Not everything is forever. So the good and the bad will pass. So cherish the good moments and really liberate yourself knowing that the bad will also pass.
Powerful, powerful. Thank you so much to just come on here and being vulnerable, be authentic. And this is why I created this space because
Yeah.
I want people to understand that being authentic is what is the best thing to do. Regardless of what people might think, regardless of what people might feel, regardless of what people might comment and say, it's like being authentic is just it's one of the best ways. So I just want to thank you for
Yeah.
just sharing your story and yeah, and just being so natural doing it.
Yeah. Thank you
So
for putting this podcast together. No, I haven't heard of a similar podcast. So once, we contacted each other, I was like, wow, that sounds amazing. No, because I think we all need to hear these kind of stories, no?
we do, and people tend to be ashamed
Yes.
about their own experience. As I keep mentioning, I'm doing this presentation and all these things coming in my head because I already start writing what I'm doing, but people tend to be so ashamed of their past that it hold them back from where they need to go. And when
No, it
God told
shapes
me
you to be who you are.
exactly, but when you
Yeah.
see it in that light, it's so amazing. But if you feel
Yeah.
like, oh, my mom was a prostitute, I cannot tell people that. Now I am a doctor. Of course, it's something liberating. Like, oh my God, my mom did what best she could at the time, and now I'm this. And this is my mantra, as I said, is like letting people understand that it doesn't matter what people say. People should say so much mean things about me,
Hmm.
and I'm sure I am surprising them right now because it's not what people say. It's just being your own authentic self and understand that you're called. And thank you to listen to that calling. and
Yeah.
shine a light, girl. Make
Yeah.
sure that people may see it. And so where people can find you online?
Yeah, so I mainly hang out on Facebook. That's my preferred one. So you can come and hang out with me, Amira Morales. Otherwise, I do have a Facebook group called Ayurveda for Professional Women, where I'd love to hang out. And this is where I share recipes, tips, how to improve your health, how to have glowing skin, and how to really glow from the inside out.
Sweet. I will be following you. Yeah, so I'll find you on Facebook. We already chat in the messenger, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we'll take it officially online, and you're part of this family. And yeah, welcome to the sisterhood that I have created and the family that I have online. So thank you again for being a part of my podcast.
Right back at you, sister. Thank you so much for your time.
So this episode, if you agree with me, it was so rich and it was so inspiring. Amaria is one of those guests that when I first introduced or interviewed her and we talked, it was something that we connected in a different level because her story was so beautiful. And I'm glad that she came onto my podcast. And thank you for listening to another episode of Immigrate.